Hi, this is Brian Noyes. In this module, we're going to dive into some of the containment scenarios and the dynamic generation of contained controls based on data binding. We'll also look in more depth at the common collection controls, including listbox, combo box, tab control, and data grid. And we'll finish off by talking a little bit more about collection views, which can be used to modify the collections you're data bound to. So first up, we're going to dive into what's really going on at runtime when you have a data-driven control and the composition that happens with the UI elements that are generated based on the data. I'll quickly explain what's going on in concept with bullets, and then we'll dive into a demo that hopefully makes it all clear since it is dynamic in nature. Next, we'll review combo boxes and list boxes and the key data binding properties and behaviors there. We've seen a lot of this in previous demos, but in those previous demos, I just kind of glanced over it and didn't focus one at a time on the properties you'll care about. Next, we'll get into tab controls, which tab controls are more of a structural element, but they can be data-driven themselves. So we'll see a common scenario where you can use tab controls for child view containment that can be dynamically driven through data binding. Next, we'll get into the ubiquitous data grid, and we'll focus on some of the key properties that you'll need to know to really drive a data grid in normal data binding scenarios. There are naturally all kinds of deep dark corners in the data grid and lots of fancy customizations of appearance and things that are out of scope for this course. What I'm going to focus on are the things that really drive the behavior of the data grid based on it being data bound. Finally, we'll finish out this module by revisiting collection views. I talked about the iCollection view interface in an earlier module, and we looked at the notion of currency driven by collection views. Here we're going to focus on some other things it can do for you in terms of manipulating the collection that you're working with to do things like sorting, filtering, grouping, and master details presentations.